First, the USDA's Justice for All non-discriminatory statement, which simply states that all persons must be treated equally without regard to their race, color, national origin, sex, religious creed, disability, age, political beliefs, or reprisal or retaliation for prior civil rights activity, and that our institution provides an inclusive space for all. For more information on the And Justice for All statement, please visit the USDA's website.
All right, good afternoon and welcome to our cooking demo. My name is Theo Banks. I'm a nutrition educator at Rutgers Cooperative Extension of Camden County with the Department of Family and Community Health Sciences. Today we are going to be making a quick and delicious cabbage stir fry recipe. This recipe comes together in minutes and uses only a few inexpensive ingredients. We picked this recipe because cabbage is the Jersey taste harvest of the month. Each Wednesday this month, we're going to be bringing you a different recipe using Jersey fresh cabbage. And cabbage is a cool weather crop that can keep growing well into fall. And you can keep an eye out for Jersey fresh cabbage at your grocery store. So, our ingredients for this recipe, we have one small cabbage, which I've chopped up. We have recipe calls for 2 bell peppers. I used green chilies because that is what I had on hand. I had a couple cans in my pantry. If I had had some fresh bell peppers, I probably would have used those, but this is a great recipe to substitute based on what you have on hand. So canned ingredients like this can be useful to make this meal if you unexpectedly fall through on your meal plan and you need a meal to make on a weekend or a weekday night. And then 1 cup of diced onion is the last veggie, the last main ingredient. And then for seasonings, it called for garlic, and I'm using garlic powder instead, and I threw some black pepper in there as well. And then also 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, but I'm not going to lift this because I'm going to end up spilling it everywhere. So to start cooking, we want to start by washing off all of our veggies. I've already washed and done my chopping, as you can see, but that's always my first step, is to make sure everything is clean and then to do all of my prep work to start chopping everything up. And then you're going to heat up whatever skillet or whatever you're cooking with. I'm using an electric skillet today. Heats up really quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and put my 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil in there now. I'm going to give it just a minute to heat up. And then we can just throw everything in at once. Couldn't be any more simple. Here it's starting to sizzle. It's getting there. It's still coming up to temperature a little bit. Throw my seasonings on top. The only thing I'm saving is the soy sauce. That's going to come after it's been cooking for a few minutes. If you put the soy sauce in too early, it'll kind of cook off and you'll lose some of that flavor. All right, and I'm going to cover this and let it sit for a couple minutes. All right, so while this is cooking, let's talk about how you can turn this recipe into a My Plate meal. So for all of our recipes, we like to talk about how the recipe can fit into My Plate and how you can use it to make some healthy, balanced meals that have all the food groups we need, that have all of the nutrients that we need on a daily basis. So today's recipe has a lot of veggies in it, which is great. we want to make half of our plate filled with fruits and veggies, and that's going to be easily possible by just serving half of our plate full of this stir fry. So it easily accomplishes that. If we wanted to add a grain to this recipe, I would probably add brown rice. Brown rice is a whole grain. It's going to add fiber to our meal. It's going to make it a more filling meal. It's going to be good for our digestive system. If you could find whole grain or whole wheat noodles, that could be a great one to add to this meal as well. And if we wanted to add a protein, we could look for a lean protein source, which is one that is low in fat. So you could add chicken breast, you could add ground turkey, you could add a scrambled egg or even a fried egg on top, or you could look towards plant-based proteins, which are usually lower in fat, and they can often be more cost-effective as well. So tofu would go great in this recipe, but even just beans, any type of beans that you have, you could throw them in here, add a little seasoning to them, and it would add some nice plant-based protein to the meal. Again, the plant-based proteins in particular, they can be really cost-effective and a really healthy way to add protein to meals. So just try and observe the portion sizes that you see here and try and model this when you're serving your own food. So we want the stir fry to take up at least half of our plate, to take the place of the fruits and vegetables that we see here. We want the protein to be a little bit under a quarter of our plate, about the size of your palm. And then we want the grains to take up the last quarter of your plate, which about the size of your whole hand. So this is just an example of how you can use my plate to figure out healthy portion sizes and ways to come up with healthy, well-balanced meals. We got 4 out of the 5 food groups for this meal today, which isn't bad. The only thing we're missing is dairy, missing a calcium source, but that's okay. We can get it in other ways throughout our day. 4 out of the 5 is pretty good. So let's go ahead and check out our stir fry. You can hear it sizzling, can smell it. It's already smelling good, just with the garlic and the pepper and the onion and the green peppers as well. I could eat this just the way that it is. It smells really good. It's starting to turn translucent. The cabbage is starting to get soft. It's kind of a matter of personal preference, how long you want to keep it on for. If you'd like your cabbage and your veggies to have a little crunch in them, you probably only need to cook for a few minutes. If you like them softer, then just give it a few more minutes. But I'm going to go ahead and put the soy sauce in now. Going to give it one last mix. And then we are going to be ready to serve. We can let it cook for another minute or so, but again, you don't want the soy sauce to cook off, so you want to serve it pretty quickly after you add that last ingredient in there. And I like my cabbage crunchy, so I am going to go ahead and serve it. Here we go. Take a look. This is an easy meal. It came together in less than 15 minutes, even including all the chopping that I did before the video. I could eat this just like this, but if you add a whole grain like brown rice, and if you add a plant-based protein source to this, you got a really filling meal that's going to be really inexpensive. It can be a great way to feed a whole family. All right. So thank you for joining us for this cooking demo. If you have any questions or comments, we would love to hear from you in the comments. The recipe for this cooking demo has also been posted in the comments. And we'll be back next Wednesday for another cabbage cooking demo for Jersey Tastes. Next week we'll be making curtido, which is a Salvadoran cabbage slaw recipe. It's really good, can be a really great topping on tacos or pupusas. So thank you everyone, and I will see you next week.